What is the point of spirituality? For a long time in my life, I had such a grip on the world, on life, on my path. I needed to know where I was going. I needed to know what I was doing. I needed to know how to get there. I needed money. I needed a relationship. I needed blah, 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 blah. And I had to have it, right? You can feel that. It's like, oh, I need that. I have to have that. There's this force. There's this grip. And what I've come to discover is that grip, that tenseness, is what creates our suffering, right? And that's where, in Buddhism, for example, they talk about suffering is attachment to things, to especially materialistic things. And when I first started this whole journey of, becoming a better person, of growing, even in the beginning, it had good intention, but it was still this idea of I need to become something, I need to gain something. And when I really started to evolve within that space, I became more and more aware that the real way you find happiness, the real way you end suffering, is to let go of that grip that you have, to allow, to, I don't really like this word, but surrender. Surrender, not necessarily to something or someone, but just not hold on so tightly. Not have an expectation necessarily. And ultimately, if you look at any practice or any challenge within the spiritual context, whether it be religious or whatever you consider spirituality, the goal, and I use that word lightly, the goal is to let go, is to surrender. If you look at breath work, so deep breathing techniques, breath retention, holotropic breath work, Wim Hof, etc., etc., the goal is to be able to get to a place where you are relaxing to the point where you are completely letting go. And it's in that letting go or surrendering that you have different type of experiences, like divine experiences, if you want to call it that. And surrendering, the reason why surrendering is used is because there's always fear attached to this idea of letting go. And in a way, you are surrendering to the fear, as in you are letting the fear in, and you are sitting with the fear without running away, without needing to panic, without needing to do something with it. And you're kind of letting it be there. And in that space, you then expand your ability and your nervous system's ability to be in the presence of fear. So for example, within a breathwork session, the first time I did it, even just even just doing the breaths, not even the holding the breath, but just doing the breaths was difficult for me. And a lot of sort of tension was coming out of my body. A lot of I was my muscles were tense and they were vibrating and I was sweating and blah, 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 blah. If you haven't done this before, highly recommend, in a safe space. But then as I did it more and more, it started getting to the point where, on the breath holds, where you get to this place of everything's just releasing and relaxing. At first it was scary. And then the next time I did it, it was a bit easier, and the next time I did it, it was a bit easier, and now I love it. Now it's like there's that space again where I can be at peace, where I can relax. So my point in that was really, it's surrender is used because you're surrendering to the fear, so that you can realize and understand that the fear doesn't necessarily mean you should actually be scared or worried or that something bad's going to happen. You basically sit in that space of fear and realize, oh, I'm actually okay. Actually, this is really nice. And it becomes more and more nice and enjoyable. And the irony is, as you do that, as you expand your capacity to hold fear, whether it be in breath work, whether it be in like social interactions, whether it be in any aspect of life where fear is involved, that is what is the release or letting go or end of suffering. You're basically expanding the areas of your life where you can sit and be with fear. And if you can sit and be with fear, there's less fear. Like you don't actually feel the fear as much, or you realize that the fear isn't as scary as you thought it would be, or that you think it is. And therefore there's extra areas in your life where there is less fear. If there's less fear, there's less suffering. So what really is the point of spirituality? It's to end suffering by expanding your nervous system's ability to hold fear, to be with fear. Just another example, social interactions. If you have a lot of fear around social interactions, then the first time you go up to somebody of the opposite gender that you've never met before to speak to them, it's going to be terrifying. But when you do it one or two, 3 times, it becomes less scary. Therefore, in social interactions, you're less scared. Therefore, there's less suffering. And that idea is in every aspect and area of life, until eventually you get to the ultimate one, which is, basically fear of death. And those who have fully, quote unquote, awakened or become fully, quote unquote, enlightened have to pass through that sort of challenge, which is being able to sit with the ultimate fear, to let that come in and not run or hide or try and fix or solve it. And all the other areas of life are basically challenges to slowly but surely expand your nervous system's capacity, expand your capacity to hold fear in different areas of your life, so that you can eventually face the quote unquote final challenge. And when you face this final challenge, and when you face all these different challenges in life, expanding your nervous system's capacity to hold fear, you're slowly but surely, this is something I'll go through in another video, but shedding limiting beliefs, but also shedding or stopping suffering. So the point of spirituality, and I hope you don't get stuck on that word and all the connotations that come with it, but the point of spirituality is to become so friendly with fear in all the different forms that it takes, that you're ultimately free of it. And when I mean free of it, I mean it's like it's to a friend. You can see it for what it really is, which is just like a feeling or an emotion, an energy that goes through you. At least that's how my more rational, logical brain likes to view the idea of spirituality, and how it's been true in my life and my journey. So I hope that was helpful in some way, or at least interesting. I'll see you in the next video.